Well, I want to talk about silver in World War III, right? You can handle it. You're a cat, man. You got 9 lives. That means you can get nuked 8 times and you're still fine. Anyway. That cat, man, he's amazing. I don't know, I've never seen a dog cat like that guy before, but he keeps following me, so he's always over here when I'm making a video, so, hey, come on, you're in the video, dude. Anyway, one thing a lot of people talk about, paper versus, real money and all this type of stuff, but, I expect actually silver to peak out, if everything kind of like normal, and they just have to inflate the currency a lot by printing a lot of money. And they're going to have to do this because they keep raising the debt ceiling. There's more and more people on the grain dole. I mean, there's like single mothers out there with like 12 kids getting like over $100,000 a year with all the government subsidies, right? I mean, it's stuff like that going on. They ain't producing nothing, right? Except kids. I guess they'd be little warriors for World War III. I mean, I don't know what the hell the deal is with that. But that's, how the hell are they going to pay for all that? They're just going to keep printing money. And I expect silver to actually go well above that 100. I know BJF talked about that 100. He's talking about it a little bit too prematurely, But it's going to get there eventually. It's going to get probably to 150 to 200. But where it can really go ballistic is if we have World War III. And, actually, if the Bush-Cheney crowd was still in business like the way they were before, and they really were holding the reins right now, we would already be at war with Iran. Oh, crap, we would have been out of war in Iran in 2007, and I don't know what the hell would have happened after that. Those guys, I mean, we got a lot of different factors going on in the United States. It's like really nobody knows exactly what's going to play out. I mean, we got a lot of drama stories out there. But I'm going to put something out there, a little common sense, because a lot of times people think things are rigidly planned. They're not. There's kind of like plans, but they move around. It's just like a business, Hey, we're in business doing this. Business opportunity goes up here. Or we're in business building this type of thing, but that product does better. So we kind of edge into that product, I mean, people do that in YouTube. I don't really cater to that too much on YouTube because I realize that's really how the conspiracy freaks really take a life of their own. It's not even Alex Jones that does it so much. It's the audience that drives him to do it. I realize, that I could probably push my YouTube views up a lot more by getting a lot more conspiratorial, but I'm going to be more honest about a lot of things. So, I'm like way too honest, man, and that's just the way it is. But most people want to hear something, they hear it. So that's, and you can judge that way and push things that way. But a lot of times events go because a lot of different factors coalesce at the same time, and like no one real thing really makes it happen. Like the assassination of JFK. There's people out there that try to make this big case that even LBJ was behind it, Lyndon Baines Johnson. I don't think LBJ liked JFK at all. And, I don't think he was behind the assassination, no. But, he benefited from it by becoming president. Maybe he knew something about more. I'm sure he didn't say nothing. He benefited by the Vietnam War with his Huey helicopters and stuff. But, it was a whole bunch of stuff. Some say the Israelis were behind it because he was going to do something with that. I don't know. Some say it was because he did this. He was going to look into the Federal Reserve and he issued the silver certificates. But the point is, it's a whole bunch of stuff. Even like 911. This is where you should not turn a blind eye to anybody doing anything wrong. I want to say that, right? Preface this. But when you have 911, it was actually a bunch of stuff that coalesced that created that to happen. I know it was like brought down by explosions inside the building. Come on. Freaking planes aren't that good, and freaking to knock down a building, they're not that strong to knock down a building. Fires don't knock down a building. And Building 7 wasn't even hit by a plane, and it has a very, very minor fire in it. I mean, come on. There was explosives in the buildings. But, did Israel, or let me put it Israel, I don't even want to say that too much because there were certain elements in Israel that had, a reason to do that. Yeah, because, that helps America to get persuaded to fight Israel's enemies. But, nobody in Israel took a vote on it. Just like, Obama does something at me as an American, does that mean anything that I voted for that? Do I want that because Obama wants it? Or somebody in my government wants something to go a certain way? That's why, I don't like when people get too critical of Jews, man. It kind of annoys me. I kind of like them, all right? Now, the other thing is, with 911, it was also the Bush-Cheney crowd, who are, Goyim guys, you know what I mean? They had a lot of interest in doing it, too. Cheney's a mean mofo, man. I'll tell you that right now. Holy shit. I could read him. Man, he's like the mob, man. He's like the enforcer guy, man. He's like, holy shit. And, I don't really mind that too much about him, to tell you the truth, but, he was behind it in Bush, And there was even another factor involved in that stuff where, and a lot of people don't even look at this, but it's a factor. It's like a bunch of stuff that coalesces to move an event, and this is what's going to even happen in the investment world with silver. But, it's kind of like very unpredictable. But another thing that really moved 911 to happen was that when they built that building, I think it was back in the 60s, they used asbestos insulation, fireproof insulation, fireproof. And that's really good too. Remember that word. It was actually, they had asbestos in there, which, minimized fires. And it was insulation. To remove that asbestos insulation and put more, the right stuff in there that wasn't like toxic and cancer causing, guess what? It would have cost more money to take out that insulation than it would to be building a new building. So, there we go. That was another reason for the demolition project, right? But looking forward, if you really want to freaking see silver go way the hell up, you're not going to want to see it hit those extreme prices, because the way it really will go up is if there's World War III. And they've been talking about this garbage since the 1950s. So I don't know if it's right on the horizon or not. But my thing is, where I would say that World War III is coming up, where you'd have an indication it actually would come up for real, is if there's total financial collapse in the West. That has not happened yet. I mean, there's problems, but we don't have total financial collapse in the West. And actually, that is something Major Anatoly Golitsyn talks about, who was the KGB major that defected in 1961. He said that Russia plans on, this guy's been dead on accurate. I mean, his name, if you look on the internet, you hardly see anything. You never see an interview with him. The guy was been in hiding in England with British intelligence, or certain elements of British intelligence. He can't show his face. You got all these other people talking out there, oh yeah, I got the inside information. Oh no, he get paid big bucks to go on college circuits. Golitsyn can't say nothing. The guy's been very accurate though. But it makes a lot more sense. Russia actually, behind the scenes, not the Russian people, but the elite, the guys with the bucks, they've been building up weapons for decades, man. They got a much bigger nuclear arsenal than the United States. And, the old adage is, if you got an enemy, kick them while they're down, man. You kick them while they're down, you play dirty. That's exactly what it is. So Major Golitsyn's analysis about, when there's total financial collapse in the West, that's when, World War III will occur. But that's when you're going to see the dollar is just going to be toilet paper, man. It ain't going to buy you crap. But the equation then, when you're talking about silver's going to save you, you're not going to be one of these suits walking around that you don't know how to do anything. Because you better know how to do a lot of stuff. You better know how to shoot a gun. You better know how to grow crops. You better know how to fix stuff on your own, do your own roof, do your own mechanical work, do your own electrical work, plumbing, even if it's half-assed plumbing or whatever. You better know how to do everything on your own. Because it's going back to square one. Maybe not to Mad Max or nothing like that, but, it's going back to square one. Because, there's a lot of lessons to be learned historically. If you go way back when, to the Roman Empire is one. Back in the early days in the Roman Empire, they were hardcore as all hell. If they fought an enemy like Hannibal, they were fighting his father, they were fighting his son later. They were fighting for decades. Even when their freaking biggest army they ever raised got totally destroyed in a matter of hours by the field of Cana, they still didn't quit. They were fighting for decades thereafter till Scipio Africanus actually beat them by using the double envelopment tactics better than Hannibal did. But we ain't got too many Americans like that anymore. That's shit from the old West, man. That's like the early days. So there's going to be a lot of culling of the population if something like this comes down. So silver's going to save your ass, because paper is going to really get in that type of situation. It's going to go down hard. But to get to this type of extreme, it's pretty unpredictable, because I don't think anybody can predict it, because like some of the big events that happened before, it was like several things coalesced at the same time where people had an interest to move it a certain way. Assassination of JFK, 9/11, more recent stuff. World War I, why did that occur? They had to first have the Federal Reserve in place, right? They had a way to lend money to the government, right? So the government can go buy stuff from the big business and feed the war machine, right? It's like you got to have the different steps in place before something like that can happen. But if you want to see, you're not going to want to see silver go through the roof. I'd rather see silver go to like 150 and there'd be peace, because it'll be a lot easier. But it may not work out like that. So when these freaks tell you about silver going to 500, 1,000, 1,500, it is possible. But they're like pencil pushing dorks in a suit that are only giving you part of the answer, because actually silver is not going to just save you right there. You better know a whole host of different things. You better know, how to grow your own food, how to produce your own energy, how to do everything on your own and be totally reliant. And I was getting back to the fall of the Roman Empire. When it finally did fall, which was like the Roman character was a lot different from what it was when it originally was the Roman Republic. But when it finally did fall, it was like the so-called barbarians, which, was a word because they used to speak like barbarian. They said words like barbar. That's just a dumb word. It's a Greek word, I guess it was, barbarians. Came in. They found, a lot of the ones that were useful to the barbarians, it just went back to square one. It was the one that knew how to, masons, the ones that know how to, like, make the work with the horses, to make the leather work, to make chariots, make architecture, buildings, people knew how to make the aqueducts and things like that. They were the useful ones. The ironsmiths, the blacksmiths, the ones that know how to make the swords. It was the people that were like, orators and Greek pros. They were getting all the big bucks back then. The attorneys, the ones that were like, the fluff. They were getting the big bucks back then. They all went to shit because the barbarians look at them like, you're a useless piece of scum. And a lot of that's going to happen here in the United States if we go back to that area. And Jim Rogers also talks about this too. He says the farmer is actually going to be the one that's going to have most of the power in the future. You may not have to be the farmer. You might be the mechanic that fixes the farm machinery. You might be the manufacturer or work for the manufacturer that produces the farm machinery. You might be the person that does the irrigation, or you might even be a few of the people that do the financial stuff for the farmers. But there's going to be a lot less people in the financial world because, we gotten very top heavy with financial experts out there. But anyway, I just want to leave you with this thought. Things are going to change, but you don't want to hope for $500 an ounce silver, $1,000 an ounce silver, because that means a catastrophic financial collapse of the West. I'm just talking reality. I don't know if that's going to happen, but if that goes that damn high, That's what it's going to mean. That's what it's going to mean. You know, if it gets like that far ahead of itself, where you could say, you know, I could walk into a, you know, I could buy a house for, you know, 150 pieces of silver. That's a good house or something like that. There, you know, if it gets that skewed like that, you know, there's some. It's not going to last. It's not going to last, and that means there's going to be major problems in a lot of things. You're going to see a lot of thieves out there. You're going to go down to the, you know, the situation like it was in a lot of other countries when things fell apart. So you don't want to hope for that kind of shit. You know, I'd rather see it just go to like 150 tops, and that's it, and you know, not have the problem. But it may turn out that way. But beware these guys on YouTube. Not me, because I think I'm giving you a straight scoop. I'm not like looking at my analysis and trying to say, whoa, that's somebody really liked hearing that. Because I think that's what people like Alex Jones do, SGT, BJF. And you know, it's not all their fault that they play too far conspiratorial. Because actually, it's the average person that eats that stuff up, man. I swear to God, I don't know what the deal is. I'm really kind of giving you a straight scoop. If there's total financial collapse in the West, silver will probably go right through the freaking roof. It'll be $500. I mean, a currency collapse, it'll be 500,000 more. But that's not going to be the end of it. It's good. We're actually going to be probably in like a World War III situation. You know, in pieces, maybe in steps, not right away, but it'll come about because. There'll be people that'll move in on the power vacuum that the United States left behind. So you don't want to be totally against even the Western elite. You know, they might be screwed up in the West, the Western elite. When you start comparing them to the elite that's going on in China, the elite, I'm not talking about the Chinese people or the elite that's going on in Russia, and I'm not talking about the Russian people. They're worst. They're worst, man. I'm just telling you straight up, man. I tell you the truth, I think somebody even like Dick Cheney, who's probably an evil mofo, he's probably a lot better person than Vladimir Putin by far. I'm telling you that right now. So, you know, just don't hope for freaking silver going to $500 an ounce, because it ain't going to be nothing cool. So, you know, just putting things in perspective. So, you know, and the other thing is with silver, do not, you know, sell it now. It's don't sell it now and think it's going to go to 10. I don't know this for a fact, but it's pretty damn low right now. And I know it moved up pretty good today, but that ain't nothing. I mean, wait till it breaks a record high for real. It hasn't broken a record high. Even Jim Rogers said that years ago. Oh, I don't think silver broke a record high, so it's got some room to move up. Back when it was moving up and it was like $40. Remember Jim Rogers said that? Oh, I don't think it broke a record high. And everybody's thinking it's going to go over 50 pretty soon. And it probably will, you know, within a year or two, though. Probably 2014. That's what I'm expecting. It's like every 3 years it seems to hit a peak. It's like in waves. So 2014, I'm going to say 75. I'm going to say a pullback below 50, and then the final race up between 2017 to 150 to 200. Do not believe these jerks with $500, because if you believe that, you better be really prepping for real to survive a bad situation. So, just putting some reality out there, not drama, not playing to the crowd, not freaking trying to play up like, you know, like Alex Jones or David Icke and all this kind of garbage, because those guys, I know what they're doing. They actually are playing to the average, you know, emotions of people, and I don't do that. So stay chill.